きみです。元気ですか? Today, I want to talk about something I was thinking about after a lesson I had yesterday. It's about how I feel like I'm a slightly different version of myself when I speak English. Not a completely different person, of course, but somehow I feel like I use a different part of my brain, or maybe I have a slightly different personality when I speak English. Let me explain. Yesterday, I had a lesson with an Australian couple, and somehow we started talking about cultural differences. We are talking about how people in Australia can sometimes be more open when they first meet someone. For example, they might talk quite openly about things like divorce, stepfathers, half sibling, or complicated family relationships. And we are talking about how if you did exactly the same things in Japan, Japanese people might be quite surprised. It doesn't mean that one way is right and the other way is wrong. It's just different. In Japan, I think we usually don't talk about those kind of personal things when we first meet someone. Usually you become closer first. And then maybe after you've known each other for a while, you might start talking about more personal things. So we are talking about these kind of differences, and it made me think about something else. I think I'm actually a slightly different version of myself when I speak English. And this isn't only about talking about family. I think there are many small things that I've changed without really realizing it. For example, the way we greet people. In English speaking countries, it's very natural to say, "How are you?" even to someone you don't know very well. You can say it to someone working at a shop. You might say it to someone you meet in an elevator. Sometimes you even have a little conversation with a complete stranger. But in Japan, we don't usually do that. If I go to a convenience store and the person at the register said, "How are you?" In English, that's completely normal, right? But in Japan, I wouldn't normally say, "How are you?" to the person at the register. It would feel like a little strange. And yeah, and no one asks us like that. So when I'm speaking English, I've learned to behave a little differently. Not because I'm pretending to be someone else, it's just that I understand that this is a normal way of communication in the culture. And I think this is an important part of learning a language. Learning a language isn't only about vocabulary and grammar. It's also about learning how people communicate. For example, what do people talk about? How close do you have to be before you talk about something personal? How do you greet people? How much small talk is normal? So what kind of things might make someone uncomfortable? These things can be very different from culture to culture, and I think I actually change the way I communicate depending on who I'm talking to. When I'm talking to Japanese friends, there are certain things I think about. I might think maybe I shouldn't say that. Maybe I should say it in a softer way. Maybe this person might feel uncomfortable if I say it directly. But when I'm talking to Australian friends, I think about different things. I think about what they might be comfortable with, what kind of communication feels natural to them. So I guess I have different ways of communicating depending on the person and the culture, and I think I do that almost automatically now. So maybe that's why I feel like I'm slightly different version of myself when I speak English. I'm still me, but maybe it's a different side of me. Maybe I'm a little more open, maybe I'm a little more casual. Maybe I talk about different things. And maybe I have a slightly different sense of humor too. I don't know. But I think it's really interesting. And I don't think you have to be completely change yourself when you learn another language. You don't have to stop being American. You don't have to stop being Australian. And you don't have to become Japanese. You can still be yourself, but I think it's helpful to understand that people from different cultures may have different ideas about what's normal, polite, friendly, or personal. And once you understand that, communication becomes much easier. You can decide for yourself how much you want to adapt. You can still be yourself. You just understand the other person's culture a little better. So, what about you? Do you feel like you're a slightly different person when you speak another language? Maybe you are more outgoing, maybe you are quieter, maybe you talk about different things, or maybe you even have a different sense of humor. So I'd love to know what you think. Anyway, that's my little thought for today. Thanks so much for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode. じゃあまたね。バイバイ。